Hello and welcome to FinextraTV. I'm Alex Lipich, and kindly joining me in the studio today is Runki Goswami and Varun Ghai of Newgen Software. It's a pleasure to have both of you here with us.
Well, thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
So we're going to be discussing the evolution of the UK payments landscape. We're going to start with you, if that's okay, Runki.
Sure.
We've seen a lot of changes, of course, in this industry over recent years. Banks have had to adapt to those changes. They've had to become more 24/7 than ever. What digital tools specifically are emerging at the moment to help maintain that efficiency and that quality of service, would you say? Let's start there.
Okay, so banks and the 24/7 customer service that you're talking about is not a thing of today. That's already happened. Like if I go back 10 years back, that is, of course, net banking had started. It was all digital and online already. So now is the time to kind of think different, and it's also about maintaining efficiency and get better with the customer experience. So the digital tools that you're talking about is more towards personalization, or rather hyper-personalization. I know there are regulatory factors that come into the picture when we use this term hyper-personalization, but that is the trick of the trade in today's time, and that's what banks are all about. That's what they're focusing on. So whether it is about utilizing or working on AI for process automation part, which enables or frees a lot of bandwidth when it comes to the KYC qualifications, or the fraud detection, or the loan origination, or whatever it is. So that AI part when it comes to process automation is very important. That's what banks are working today, and it's not just about a thing for today, but also looks into the requirements that might come up in the future. Then the entire workspace or the agentic workspace thing, wherein every relationship manager is armed with a digital agent or an AI agent, which gives insightful, or which takes insightful decisions for the relationship manager. That is also a big enabler in today's times and is very future forward looking. What else? The entire the Gen AI part, which is about the conversational AI, the chatbots, which are already very active, but it's getting even more prim, proper day by day, and it's empowered with a lot of autonomy. So that's there. Of course, the entire ECM stack, the AI, the agentic ECM, which plays an important part, wherein that takes care of all the security aspects of data. That's again very important. There are so many elements that are available and banks are looking into. I can just go on and on, whether it's about the composable architecture, which helps banks to kind of assemble everything and digitize and thereafter give an experience to the end client. The regulatory factors, the point which I started off with. So many things, but I think I'll take a stop there. But yes, that's what we are looking into.
Really interesting insight. Do you have anything to add to that at all, Varun?
Sure, and I'll add something what leading analysts are also saying in today's world is in this space of hyper-automation, right? There are critical elements within the hyper-automation, and what they feel is that the process, data, content, are very critical in the banking industry, right? In fact, I can't even think of a service or a process which bank transform, which does not have a process, which does not have documents coming in, which does not have data coming in, right? And all this coming together becomes very powerful from an end-to-end transformation. For example, if you're doing a lending transformation or a payment transformation, right? So over a agile, flexible workflow platform, right? Plugging content to it, plugging data science to it, plugging comp to it, right? Helps banks transform their entire service over a single framework.
Really, really fascinating insight from both of you. Thank you so much for sharing that. We've spoken about some of the changes happening in the industry. Uncertainty is also growing at the moment. Good leadership, I'm sure you'd agree, is probably more important than ever. So how have UK banking leaders responded to that resistance, shall we say, and adapted their support networks? And I'm going to come back to you on that one, Varun, if I may.
Sure, an interesting question. To my experience, what I've seen is, and it's also the mantra for a happy family, right? To your wife, for example, right? You communicate more, you talk more. And with your kids, you remove the fears. The same principle which I have seen the leaders are applying in the banking today. To their immediate peers, they are running good communication plan, the good leaders with their experience, right? Educate them better, right? Showing the vision where the company is going to. It's not just the technology is going to, where the company has to go. That gives clarity to the entire team, give focus to them and the goals what they want to achieve, right? To the extended team, like your children, right? They're always feared, right? If AI comes, like what happens, right? So like little kids, right? What would happen? Will we be there? What will we be doing in 5 years and all? That is where again a good leader's help comes in running that education, removing that fear and make it actually deliver in a very joyful way. In fact, we were running a campaign with one of our existing clients, CXO, and we started a lunch and learn series, right, with our AI capabilities in our banking technology, what we offer, where in a very a go-to way, in a cheerful way, on a Thursday or a Friday, serving some pizzas, but using that moment to make it light to the users, showing the power what AI can bring into the bank, how it's not is changing your work, but how it is impacting the end customers, the end goals as a bank they want to achieve, right? It's not just reducing manpower and all. No, it is how we can expand more with the use of technology. That eliminates a lot of fear, right? And that's what I have seen. In fact, if you see, you heard about, I don't know, but NatWest, they did a good project with OpenAI. And a similar is the communication plan, the good strategy, the good execution strategy, and keeping it clear for everyone, help them succeed what they want to do.
Really interesting insight. I saw you nodding away, Runki. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Oh, well, he's said everything, but this AI is a buzzword today, and there are several jargons floating in the market, whether it is AI enablement, AI led, AI powered, AI native, as I said, or AI first. So many things are there. So all the elements, the entire communication piece that Varun spoke about is also about throwing light about the applicability or the practicality of AI and how much important it is from a practical point of view. If you just take it as a buzzword, I don't think banks consider any AI element just because it's a buzzword. They look into the practical aspects of AI. And that's what leadership is all about today. When you communicate it properly and explain the difference between each of the elements. Because Newgen, we are a product native company and we are AI first. When we say AI first, that means AI is embedded in every layer of our products. And so we, our leaders, Varun happens to be one of them who handles the product and sells in the UK market. And I think communications is one of the trick of the trade that he masters. And that's what I believe is the leadership aspect here.
AI, definitely a buzzword, and there's so many variations of it, aren't there, out there at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see how that develops down the line. Varun, I'm going to come on to you again, if I may, with the next question. What specific shifts do you think are required within banks to enable that long-term digital innovation? What do you think about that?
Okay. So changes are required, right? And change is inevitable, right? It has to be there. What has changed over the last 2, 3, 4 decades? I'll give you an example. Swiss watch, 30, 40 years back, a model could sustain into the market for 20 years, 2 decades, 3 decades, right? When Japanese came with Casio, right? Even I know some kids still wear it, right? But the way the modern watches are coming in, the new features are coming in, right? They're coming very fast from the same provider, same product. So what is happening is there's a lot of change happening, but the bigger trouble is the change, the speed of change is reducing, right? And on the other side, if I say from the bank perspective, right, the time to respond to the change is also reducing. There's so much happening. So that is becoming a different channel. Now for bank to sustain is making the right decision, what to change, when to change, because it's happening in circles and quite a lot, and you don't have the time to reflect, right? And you have to compete in the market, right? Now to be existent over years, right, your planning of the change has to be very crystal clear. What to do, what not to do is something very critical, and I've seen a lot of my peers in the industry investing a lot of time into that.
Sure.
On the second front, with a lot of disruption coming in, like AI, etc., right, which again we cannot avoid. It is there for good, right? There, a good strategy, to my belief, is on the guardrails, right? With AI, everyone knows guardrails, how important they are. What I feel is there are 3 types of guardrail. The first one is the squeezing guardrails, the second is the static guardrails, and the other is the expanding guardrails. Whenever there is about the compliance, the risk to existence, that's what I call them into your squeezing guardrail. If you learn, for example, with AI, this can go bad, okay? Squeeze the guardrails, make them more tight, okay? Use the learning, make them tight. So your sustainability will increase, your long-term perspective, right? Wherever you're talking about your internal operational efficiency, make them rigid. Employees want a lot of flexibility, operations want a lot of flexibility, but your guardrails should be stubborn, right? So that your controls are in place. You work the way your principles have been set. And wherever you talk about customer expansion, your product expansion, right, where you can take digital and more places, have expanding guardrails, right? Because that's open wings for you, right? So it's a 3 guardrail strategy which I feel it works very well, and a lot of leaders in the financial industry are adopting and changing to them.
It's fascinating how you say these changes are happening quicker than ever before, and that is so true and something I personally haven't really thought about. Looking as best you can, and this is open to the floor, into the future, how do you see the future of UK banking, and what do you perhaps hope to see in store looking down the line? And that's opened up to the floor. Whichever of you wants to jump in, maybe we'll go to you.
Well, Varun will know it best. He is interacting with the banks every day. He is facing the stakeholders in the banks. He is probably in touch with the leading CEOs, CIOs, CXOs of every bank, so he would know it much more than I will. But what I study and when I read and when I see the product landscape of the IT B2B companies, and I happen to be the CMO of Newgen, so I am deeply invested in the products and the messaging and what goes out. It kind of is very overwhelming and intriguing and interesting when I sit with my teams, my product head, and understand what the customer is asking for. And here the context is that of a bank. So today what AI is might not be the same tomorrow. So every discussion happens around what's going to happen tomorrow. What are the regulatory things? What are the compliance things? Because it's all about trust, not just efficiency, efficiency with trust. Compliance, as I said, and these words, the trust and compliance, these jargons of these words or these adjectives keep coming up in every dialogue that we have, whether it is internally or whether it is the banking world we face externally. And believe me, it's not just about UK banks, banks across the globe. So technology is definitely an enabler, and it's all at the end of the day giving the customers what we want. I will take a pause over here because I would really want Varun to kind of throw light on this.
I'll put this on 2 different perspectives. One is the banks are heavily investing on the content side, right, the documents, which has become the new gold information. A lot of investments, a revolution has happened on the data side. So people are invested on data, AI, data science, data lakes, etc. But content, like I said, is the new oil or the new gold. There's a lot of knowledge, information over there. Banks are trying to adopt how they can be more efficient, what new products they can offer, how they can increase the portfolio of the product and services, which then offer to new clients or to the customers whom maybe they rejected in past, right? Looking into the information they have provided, right? What other services or products can be offered. That's one. The other within the banking, and it's a very interesting fact, is on an average today an IT versus non-IT ratio in a bank today is around 30-34%, all right, 30-35%, something like that. I met a senior leader, a large European bank, and they feel that in another 7 to 8 years is going to be more than 50% as an IT workforce and the remaining as a non-IT workforce. So it's like tech-driven banking it is tech-driven, but the ratio is going to shift quite a lot. So they foresee a major division, a lot of operations happening in a very autonomous way, which will be fueled by technology, and something which is not autonomous, right? That is where a lot of human element, right?
Really interesting insights from both of you. What stood out to me, you said about compliance, efficiency and trust all kind of being read off the same page, so to speak, and being on level terms. And it sounds like a very exciting time ahead as well. I want to thank you both so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Well, thank you for having us here.
Thank you for joining us.